everyone, and welcome to Office Hours. My name is Ariella Coombs, and I'm one of the career coaches here at Work It Daily. For those of you who are new, we do Office Hours every week on Wednesdays. JT and I actually switch, the founder, and I actually switch every week. So we do a 30-minute session with kind of a topic to kick things off and get things going, and then we'll answer questions that second half of this session. So I'm really excited to see what questions you guys have today. I have a really fun topic about habit building and how you can incorporate it into your career and why it's important. So I can't wait to start talking about that. But yeah, so just a couple of housekeeping things. If you have a question, please make sure that you put question in all caps and then you write out your question, so that way we can find those questions easier. And we do have a ton of questions coming in usually throughout these sessions, so I'll try my very best to get to all of them, but it's not always guaranteed. If you do want your question answered, guaranteed answered, definitely join us inside of Work It Daily. It's a really great program, and you will always get your question answered within 2 business days. Okay, so definitely consider that if you haven't already. So, welcome. I will jump in so we can get to your questions. So, like I said, it's very important that we focus on building better habits in your life and in your career, because habits are the foundation of being successful in anything, right? Whether you're trying to train for a marathon or you're just trying to be a better networker, it's all about the habits that you form that will help you build slowly up to that, success, that goal, right? So if you're training for a marathon, for example, you're not just going to run that marathon all in one try or in a couple of tries. No, you have to train. You have to make it a habit to run every day. You have to make it a habit to, go to the gym and train, and all those things. Those habits will slowly build up to this ultimate goal that you want to achieve, right? So it's really important to kind of build that foundation, and whether it's training for a marathon or being a better networker. Okay, so that's why we're Work It Daily, right? So working it daily, making it a habit to do things on a regular basis, on a daily basis. Whether it's training for a marathon, whether it's running on a regular basis, or reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Those habits really help you to build that foundation to be successful. Okay, so one of the most important habits that we typically will advise our clients inside of Work Daily is to, work on your networking habits, right? Because networking is such a fundamental piece of being successful in your career, whether it's trying to find a job, excel in your career, or make connections, find clients. Networking is really the base of all of that. And it's also one of the most scary things for people to do. But here's the awesome thing about networking is you can be an amazing networker with just a few basic habits that you can incorporate into your life. So whether that's making it a habit to go to a networking event once a week, making it a habit to reach out to one person, a day or a week on LinkedIn, to learn more about their company, to learn more about their job, to reconnect with somebody, an old colleague, a coworker. Those little habits will slowly but surely allow you to build a very strong network that will serve you in the future when you really need it. So networking doesn't have to be this really overwhelming thing if you just focus on those little habits that you want to build. Okay, so that's one example of how habits can really, take your career to the next level. And it doesn't just apply to networking, right? So once you get a job, you're in this new job, you want to have good habits from day one. You want to start figuring out what those habits are that you're going to need to be doing every day in order to succeed at that company, right? So whether it's making it a habit to connect with your boss once a week, whether it's, making an effort to chat with your colleagues or coworkers on a daily basis so you can really build that rapport, build that good working relationship with them. Making it a habit to be organized at work, keeping your desk clean, keeping your spreadsheets, up to date. Things like that will allow you to build, again, that foundation so you can be successful later. So as you can see, habits are so important in your life, in your career, and for your ultimate success. So how do you figure out what habits you need to build? What habits should you be focusing on? Because obviously there are millions of habits out there. And obviously you want to be doing all of them, but it's impossible to really focus on a million habits, right? You really want to think about a few key habits that are really going to move the needle later toward your goals. Okay, so What I advise people do when they're trying to figure out what habits to incorporate into their life is to think about, make a list of 3 people that you admire in their career or whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And make a list of those 3 people and then explain, you put a little blurb under it saying why you admire these people. What is it about them that you admire so much? Like, what is it about this person that is, inspirational, or they motivate you, or they just, what is it about them? Why do you look up to them? What do they have that you don't have that you wish you had? For example, great networking skills, time management skills, people skills, anything like that. Think about what they do, why you admire them, what they have that you wish you had, and make that your reason. Like, explain why you are, you appreciate them, why you admire them, why you want to be like them. Okay, then you want to look at those people and take a minute to understand what kinds of habits and qualities and skill sets that this person needs in order to be this person, to identify as this person, to have this type of personal brand, right? You know them for his or her habits. You know this person because, she's a great networker, right? So, but what is it about her and her habits that make her a great networker, right? So you want to be thinking about that. So, for example, again, going back to that networking habit. So if this person's really good at networking, great at building relationships, creating, good, a good rapport with people, just, it seems easy to her, for example. So take a note, like, does she always shake people's hands? Does she make a point of remembering people's names? Does she ask a lot of questions? Does she really focus on listening and repeating back what she hears so she understands exactly what this person is saying? What is it about her interactions that make her a good networker, right? So take note of those things so you can start identifying those habits that this person has. For example, remembering someone's name. I know somebody who is a fabulous networker, and it's not just because he's an interesting person. It's not because he has a lot to say. It's not, this or that. He's not super outgoing. One of the biggest habits that I've noticed about him is that he makes an effort to repeat someone's name at least 3 times during the conversation so he can remember it. And when someone hears their name, it instantly makes them, like you more randomly enough because, you're hearing your name and you feel like they're listening to you. So this is a good habit to be thinking about, right? So, he'll introduce himself. Hi, my name's Joe. What's your name? Well, my name's Alice. Oh, hi, Alice. It's so great to meet you. So, Alice, tell me about your work. Oh, that's really interesting, Alice, right? It sounds annoying now, but in the conversation, it really helps him to remember Alice's name, and Alice appreciates that he's making that effort, right? So that's a habit that you can be incorporating if you're noticing that from that person that you admire, that you look up to, who has these great networking skills, okay? Does that make sense? So yeah, so make a list of all those habits and then focus on, 3 to 5 habits that you want to incorporate in your professional life, right? So whether it's repeating someone's name when you mention it, you're talking to them, whether it's keeping eye contact when you're having a conversation, or making an effort to send a follow-up email after you have a conversation with someone at an event. Make that a habit. Make a list of those, 3 to 5 habits that you're noticing from those people that are really great at what they do, and you want to be that person. You want to be great at, this skill set, and incorporate them into your life. Don't go crazy with the skills. Again, you could have a million habits that you want to incorporate into your life, but if you have too many, it's going to be overwhelming and you're not going to do any of them, right? So focus in on, just a few, just a handful of habits that you can incorporate easily into your life. Once you master those, they'll be second nature, and then you can move on to learn new habits that can help you propel your career, move the needle forward to those goals. Okay, so I hope that helps. It's incredible, you have these amazing goals, career dreams, and these seem so overwhelming at first, or these things that scare you, like networking or, excelling in interviews. These scary things, these challenges aren't really that scary when you distill them down to the habits that you incorporate into your life and how you can make those a part of your identity, a part of your personal brand. Does So I hope that's helpful for you guys. I know that so many people struggle with this, particularly with networking and job interviews. So, focusing on good habits to set yourself up for success is really key. Awesome. Okay, so let's get to some questions. Also, if you have any habits of your own that you feel have really helped you propel your career and your life, please feel free to share in the chat, because I love having that conversation with our viewers and our members, and making sure that you're sharing this information, because it's really important. Share those habits, pay it forward. What has worked for you? I'd love to know. Awesome. Okay, so a lot of questions here today, which is excellent. All right, so question, on a professional resume, do you put an objective at the top? Great question. So for the most part, 99% of the time, we recommend absolutely not. It's kind of an outdated strategy for resumes and for job search in general. The only time that we recommend putting an objective statement on your resume is if the recruiter or the hiring manager or the person on the hiring team that you're working with tells you to put an objective on your resume. The reason is this person knows the company's hiring process, what they're looking for specifically, better than anybody else, better than us, right? So you want to be taking that advice from that person that you're working with, and if they say put an objective on your resume, even when we don't, then you want to put that objective on that resume, okay? That is the only exception. Otherwise, it is an outdated strategy, and you want to avoid doing that. And instead, incorporate a headline to kind of define that service that you provide as an employee. So that way it's, you're giving yourself an unofficial title that kind of relates to your skills, represents your skills in your career, and ties it to that opportunity that you're applying for. So it makes it easy to make that connection, okay? Hope that helps. All right. Okay, so question. Recruiters are just about the only people in my area who can get a resume in front of a hiring manager. How can I attract recruiters who have jobs that I can actually do? So great question. So the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you're optimized properly. So for example, on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that you're branding your profile for those key skill sets that you want to be leveraging for those types of jobs that you want to be pursuing. So for example, if you want to be in customer service, you want to be including keywords that relate to that type of work: customer service, client relations, administrative support. Keywords, key skill sets, hard skill sets that relate and support that type of job that you want to pursue. You want to incorporate that into your profile on your resume as well, and really set yourself up for those types of opportunities. So look at the job descriptions of the roles that you want to be pursuing or that you are pursuing, scan them, and make sure that you are circling all of those hard skill sets that you can see. Make a list and say, am I forgetting to incorporate this skill or that skill, or am I not emphasizing this skill enough because it's mentioned so much in this job description? Because it's really important for you to incorporate those relevant keywords, those relevant skill sets, if you want to be found for those, and you want to be pinged for those opportunities that you are, ready to do and you want to be pursuing. The other thing is you want to be proactive. So not only do you want to optimize your profile and your resume for these types of opportunities, but you also want to be going to companies directly and networking your way in and saying, hey, I'm a huge fan of your organization. I'd love to find myself working there or contribute someday. And, I'd love to learn more about it and how I can potentially contribute. So that way you can start building relationships with these organizations, networking your way in. So, down the line, if you've branded yourself effectively, they're going to know exactly how you add value and what service you provide, so they can potentially set you up with a job that works for you. So optimize your materials for those keywords and hard skills that relate to those jobs that you want to be pursuing, but also be proactive and go out there and don't just wait for recruiters to come to you. You want to be proactive and go out there and find companies and hiring teams on your own. Hopefully that helps. All right. Okay. Question, how do I convey experience on my resume that's, so how do I convey experience on my resume if it's 10 years or more, if it occurred before my two most recent employers? So if you have experience that's older than 10 years, then what you're going to want to do is, unless it's super relevant to the opportunity that you're applying to, you want to be just essentially listing that title, the organization that you worked for, the location, and then the years that you're employed. 10 years, you're probably okay with listing out bullet points to kind of support those accomplishments, those skill sets that you are showcasing on your resume. If it's 15 years, you really just want to kind of list them out, so that way it's kind of more of a record of, this is my career progression, here are the roles that I held, these are the companies that I worked for, but you're removing those bullet points so that way you don't add length to your resume. And if they want to know more about it, you can of course give that information to them, but it's really more about incorporating the most relevant, most recent experience on your resume, because it's more of a highlight reel. It's like just a highlight sheet of your career progression, your skill sets, and what you can offer to those opportunities in terms of those skill sets, that service you provide. So if you have experience that's older and it's not relevant, or it's been so long that it's probably not going to be something that employers are looking at, then you just want to list them out: title, company, location, years, and remove the bullet points. So that way it's just a record and it's showing that progression, but you're not adding that length. I hope that helps, if I understood your question correctly. All right. Question: how do you bounce back after not being selected for a job after having 3 interviews, phone screen, phone interview, 2-hour on-site interview? So great question. So this is always challenging. It's always frustrating when you aren't selected for an opportunity, but here's the thing. You want to be using this as an opportunity to keep that relationship going with this employer. The fact that you had 3 interviews means that they were taking you seriously in this process, and it just ended up not being the right fit opportunity for you. That doesn't mean that you're not a good fit for opportunities in the future. So you want to make sure that you are keeping a good relationship with this employer. You're ending on a high note. So what we typically say when you don't get the opportunity, especially when it's been this far in the process, is to send an email and say, thank you so much for the opportunity to interview with your team. It was so lovely to learn more about your company, and I just want to let you know that I'm still very interested in finding my place at this organization. I'd love to use my skills and expertise and contribute here. I'm a huge fan, as you know, and if there's anything else I can do in the future to potentially find an opportunity here, please let me know. And then also ask them how you can stay on the radar screen in the event that another opportunity appears. So that way you're ending on a high note, you're being appreciative, you're letting them know that you're still interested, that you still want to be there. And if this candidate doesn't work out that they hire, they might come to you. If they end up having another opportunity at this organization, they're going to remember you because you were so gracious, and you still wanted to be there despite not getting the opportunity. So that's how we typically have people kind of approach that. And it's a good way because you feel like, yes, like I ended this on a good note, there's potential for the future, it's time to move on to that next opportunity, continue my search. Okay, so I know it's frustrating, but that is absolutely the best way to go about it, and they're going to appreciate that you took that extra step. Great question. Question: how do I show multiple positions that I've held at one company on my resume? Great question. So what we say is that you should list any position, whether it's at one company, different companies. You should list every position as its own kind of entity, its own area, right? So that way it doesn't cause any confusion. You're separating them. Like if you had this job title at this company, but then you got another job title at the same company, you want to show that progression. You're going to have different accomplishments, you're going to have different bullet points to be showcasing, and you don't want to have so many that you can't separate that progression that you're doing there. So it's really important, whether it's you had the same title and then you move to a different company, you just have the same title, keep those positions separate. If you had different titles and you were at the same company, again, keep those separate because it shows that progression, and it can allow you to separate those accomplishments, effectively. Hopefully that helps. All right. All right, question. I just started a new job, and this is only my 4th day today, but I have a job interview in a few hours. How do I make a decision about what job to take? Okay, so it sounds like you've already accepted a job and you're only a few days in. I would just be curious, is this, I guess I'm assuming that this opportunity that you're interviewing for is the dream job, right? And then you accepted this one in hopes that this other one would work out. So obviously this is a tricky situation. Honestly, I think it comes down to you've accepted this job, you've started, you've committed to them, and if you're interviewing with this other company still and they offer you a position, you really have to be thinking about, is it worth burning the bridge with this original company, putting them in a bad situation, in order for me to take this next step with this other company that I really want to work for. You also have to, evaluate the opportunity itself. How much growth do you have in each opportunity, in terms of career potential, salary, benefits. It's hard. I can't really tell you which one to choose, but I would warn you that since you've already taken this other opportunity, you've already started working, that it's going to be, you're going to absolutely burn that bridge at this opportunity if you choose to pursue this other opportunity. So you really want to make sure that this is a great opportunity for you and something that you can't necessarily turn down, right? So, just make sure that you're evaluating that. Okay. But yeah, that's always tricky. I mean, I would also, consider just, going to that interview, and again, weighing I would just focus on, is it worth kind of leaving this opportunity? Is this an opportunity that you can see yourself in 2, 3, 5, 10 years? And is this going to set you back if you decide to move on to this other opportunity? But if you have the opportunity to do the job interview and you just want to see where it goes, go for it. But I just want to caution you there, in terms of that decision. Alrighty. Question, how long should you wait to follow up with a company after submitting your cover letter and resume? Great question. So if you've submitted your materials, we typically say, you can follow up within a week or two. Make sure that you email and just say, hi there, I just want to let you know that I applied for the X, Y, and Z position, and I just wanted to reach out to see if there's anything else I can do to further my candidacy. If there's anything else, please let me know. And you can follow up that way. But I'd also, again, focus on doing that networking piece. Start connecting with people within the organization to just get to know them, to learn more about the opportunities, the projects, the culture there. Kind of circumvent that application process by getting to know other people within the organization. Because if you can get people to vouch for you, if you can get people to refer you to opportunities or pass along your resume down the line, it's really going to be helpful, because applying online is obviously, it's a flawed way of doing it, but there are times where you have to do that. So it is important to also go about it with the networking and focus on it that way. But yes, 1 to 2 weeks, send a quick email just asking them if there's anything else you can do to further your candidacy. And yeah. We also have some great templates for this type of thing, whether it's following up for, to check in on your materials, how to deal with that rejection email, what to say to recruiters or people who you're trying to connect with on LinkedIn. We have templates for all of this stuff inside of our program, which I would say these are the most asked for things inside the program. It's just learning and understanding how to have these conversations, to write these emails, to get the right points across. So we have a huge library of templates that have really been helpful for our members. So definitely consider that. If you're a member, and if you haven't been a member, definitely check it out. All right. Okay. Question, should I continue applying for positions with a company when I'm still awaiting status from an interview from the same company? So what I would do is, some companies welcome you to apply to multiple positions within their organization. Some companies are all about it. Other companies frown upon it because it can make you look unfocused as a candidate. So what I would do is I'd call up, their HR, their hiring, or the team that you're working with, and just say, hey, just wanted to get your thoughts on this. What do you think about candidates applying to multiple positions? Is this something that you encourage? Is it something that you frown upon? Just wanted to get your thoughts before I move forward with anything else, because every company is different. And like I said, some of them want to see more application or want to see more jobs or candidates applying for multiple jobs. Other ones really just want you to focus on that one opportunity so you don't look unfocused, okay? Because you know that, again, that service you provide, and you know that this is the role for you, as opposed to trying to go across the board, right? So I definitely, send them an email, give them a call, and just get their thoughts on that. All right. All right, question. I have an interview coming up. I've been seemingly blowing my in-person interviews recently. Do you have any suggestions on how I can bone up or practice for the interview? So great question. So I think, honestly, the best thing that you can do, other than check out our interview prep course inside of our program, which is super, super in-depth, really covers everything, is to honestly practice with a friend, practice in front of a computer and a camera. Just get comfortable with, your delivery, with what you're saying, responding to, questions. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be doing it, and the more confident you're going to be in those interviews, right? So I would really focus on, just as weird as it is to practice in front of a computer, in front of a webcam, just go for it. Just start practicing your delivery, practice your answers, your responses. You can record yourself and watch after and say, okay, well, I could have done this differently, or I could have said this, or my body language was making me look nervous. It can really help you in terms of not only identifying where you can improve beforehand, but just, again, getting comfortable speaking, articulating, delivering those answers, and that being more comfortable doing that is really going to increase your confidence, and that's going to show in the interview. So it's really important that you do that. But again, I would definitely check out that interview prep plan course inside of our program. Really in depth. It covers everything from preparation, attitude, different kinds of interviews, how to structure your answers, following up, and so on. It really covers everything across the board. So in addition to doing your homework, you want to be practicing that actual delivery and getting comfortable doing that. Great question, and good luck. All right, so one more question here. Let's see. Question, I'm working temporarily at a place where they are open to extend into a full-time position. I also have an offer with my bucket list company. I want to take their offer without burning bridges. So, great question. So, if you're working somewhere and they're open to moving you up and making you a full-time employee, that's great. But if you have an offer from this other company, it's not like you've accepted the opportunity yet, as far as I can tell. So, where you are a temporary worker here, you can say, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I loved working here, but unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to go into a new direction at this time. But I wanted to thank you for this, because if you do really want to work for this other opportunity, you want to go for it at this point. Again, you have two offers here, and you really just need to think about which one's going to be more beneficial to you. And if this is the bucket list company, you want to be thankful for the opportunity over here. Tell them that you enjoyed your experience and that you really appreciated working with everybody, and that you're just going to have to go into a new direction at this time. Congratulations, that's awesome. Great. All right, everybody. Great. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I answered your questions. If not, I know I didn't get to all of them. Definitely check us out inside of our platform. We'll absolutely answer every question that you ask within 2 business days, which is awesome. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, let us know, and I hope to see you next week. So have a great week, everybody, and see you later.